Hello and welcome to episode 59 of the Six Star Business Podcast. I am your host, Aveline Clark, and thank you for joining me today. As always, our guests are very, varied in their backgrounds, histories, skills, strengths, experiences, genius, but something always ties them all together. And nothing could be more true than our next guest. And this was not only an interesting conversation because I'd not had a guest on before that talked specifically about wealth, but also I didn't have a co-host and there weren't two guests. So this is a first. It's just myself and Rennie. And this is Rennie Gabriel. He is a TedX speaker. He's a published author. He's a financial coach. He has a very interesting story and shares that in his TEDx talk and also in his book. He talks a little bit about it in our conversation, but what he's really passionate about and what he teaches is how to combine purpose with wealth. Now, this is the Six Star Business Podcast. This is about how to create a six-star business. And for those that have been listening for a long time or even for a short time, you'll notice that there are different themes that come out of these conversations. And those themes are around impact, collaboration, humanity, love, purpose. These are the elements, these are the underlying aspects of a six-star business. Yet all business, when you think about the outcome of what we do in business, it is to create a level of wealth. And now, whatever your definition of wealth is the thing that enables us to create more purpose, impact, collaboration. We can reach more people through the wealth that we build. So Rennie's message is really relevant to every business owner. And it's just a beautiful conversation. He's a wonderful person. I'm very grateful that he came on the podcast. And yeah, it's one of those ones that you can listen to and really learn something from, all of us, but myself included. And I will give a plug to Rennie. He was amazing. Towards the end, he actually asked me a couple of questions and said, do I pay myself first? And he actually promised that he would follow up with me to check in to see when I paid myself next, would I pay myself first? And true to his word, he sent me an email on the day that I said that I would be being paid to check in and make sure that I paid myself first. He's a terrific man and has a genuine heart of gold. So without further ado, here is Rennie Gabriel.
There is a first for everything, and I'm always up for firsts. So here we are, and welcome to our next beautiful, wonderful episode of the Six Star Business Podcast. You're here with me. You're with me here. It's too early in the morning. It is 7 a.m. I'm getting tongue-tied at 7 a.m. Rennie, you are my guest today. Welcome. It's so good to have you.
Thank you, Aveline. It's fun to be here because it is noon for me in Los Angeles. So, I understand what it's like at 7 in the morning. I have, how do I phrase it? I only see it from my bed when I look at a clock.
Oh, thank you for understanding. My co-host, who is going to be my co-host today, Rennie, is based in the UK. So it would have been 8 p.m. for her. The reason she's not here, she has a sick son at the last minute, so she couldn't make it, which means it is just you and I. And this means it's a first for me to have a podcast episode without a co-host. And we've got yourself on your own. It was designed that way to have you on the podcast by yourself. And so now then there was two. So yeah.
Don't worry, Aveline. I will be gentle.
I trust you, Rennie. I do.
Yeah. So I know you want me to introduce myself, sort of. So I'll do that. And I've already said I'm in Los Angeles. I will talk about who I serve and support. And what I'm doing at this point in time is supporting people to handle money powerfully so that they can become philanthropic. So I say that what we do is we raise philanthropists. I find a lot of people, and it doesn't matter if they're entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, authors, corporate trainers, professionals, 9 out of 10 people, primarily in the United States, have been taught nothing about how to handle money effectively or powerfully. It's not taught in school, and parents can't teach what they don't know. And unfortunately, teachers can't teach what they've never learned. So 9 out of 10 people, and it's probably not as bad in other, well, I don't know. Tell me what it's like. I think there's some financial education in Australia. Is that correct?
Well, it's you have to self-select it.
Oh,
You've got to go and find it. Yeah.
okay. So in other words, they don't recognize that everyone needs to handle money. So the people who get the instruction chose it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what that led to for me was a situation where I struggled with money my whole life. I thought if I just earned more money, everything would work out. And I started my first, I would say, career as a school teacher. And I was making, this goes back into the 1970s. So if this is broadcast where people can see my face, they might think, oh, he's not that old. And they're wrong. I am older than I look. Anyway, so it was like 1972. I am earning a total of $6,500 per year. And I don't care, how long ago it was, it's not a lot of money. And so I left teaching after a year. And the first year in sales, I doubled my income. And when I was a school teacher, I was short about $100 a month to cover our bills. And now I'm earning twice as much money and I'm short $200 a month. Doesn't sound right, does it?
No.
And so I decided to go into the financial services industry and learn about money, which I found out teaches nothing about the foundations. But I thought still for the next 20 years, if I just make more money, it'll work out. And after I passed 100,000 a year, now I'm $2,000 a month short. So what I discovered is it does not matter how much money you're earning. What you do with it is what makes all the difference. And no one's been given the tools to know how to work with what they're getting. And so I spent years researching, reading, going to different programs, including 12-step programs on debting. And that's where I actually discovered that people need to work on their expenses first and their income second. And from that, things turned around for me. Unfortunately, along the way, I got divorced twice. Again, because I didn't know how to handle money well. I had a business failure. And by the time I'm age 50, with 2 divorces behind me and a business failure, I'm flat broke. Got all this education, but I'm broke. And realizing typical retirement age, and by the way, I hate the word retire. We'll talk about that hopefully at some point, is 15 years away. I got to put things together. I got to really get serious. So I leaned on one of the most foundational tools that has been taught for 100 years. It's a concept that's 5,000 years old. And now, Aveline, I'm going to put you on the spot. You ready?
Oh gosh. Hang on, who's the host here? Go. No, put me on the spot.
Okay. Have you heard of the expression, pay yourself first?
I have.
Great. Okay. And so many people say, yes, I've heard that. So here, I'm putting you on the spot again. Can you explain what it means?
I'll tell you what I think it means. That when the money comes in from whatever source you get it, that you pay yourself before you pay your bills. That's my belief.
And you are correct. Now, taking into consideration, you were kind of like having to guess at it and hope you were right, which, by the way, you were. Next question is, are you practicing it?
Probably not.
Probably not. No, that's a yes or no.
It's a no.
Okay, fine. And that's what I've discovered. That I recently wrote a book called Attitudes of the Wealthy. And one of the most important attitudes really has to do with what a wealthy person does when they hear familiar information. Like, you've heard of the expression, pay yourself first. You even know what it means. But here's what a wealthy person does when they hear familiar information that's different than an ordinary person. The ordinary person will say, oh, I've heard that before, or I know what that means, or that's not new to me, which takes them nowhere. But what a wealthy person does when they hear familiar information is they ask questions. They ask questions like, where would that apply to me? Or where would I put the money? Or when will I begin? Or how do I do it? Or who could support me with that? And those questions lead to the answers that create a transformation in what they're doing. They lead to the solutions. And the book I wrote has like 31 attitudes that wealthy people, or 32. Isn't that terrific? I don't even remember what I put in the book. 31 or 32 attitudes. They read one a day. Practice it. Those kind of attitudes transformed my situation from being broke at age 50 to being a multimillionaire by age 58 and not having to work again for the rest of my life. I was concerned, would I have enough money at 65 so that I wouldn't be eating cat food instead of tuna? And it just turned out geometrically so much better. So I don't know. Is that enough about me?
Wow. There's so much in what you've just shared, Rennie, and I've got a bunch of questions already. And I always like to sort of summarize and reflect back what I'm hearing. And by the way, we've not had someone on this podcast who's talked about wealth before. So I'm super excited, first of all, that you've got this experience and knowledge, and you're able to sharing how you're helping others do this. And it sounds to me like you are applying what I guess 6-star principles in this area of wealth. And it's such an important area because it impacts every single person. Wealth, money management, whatever term or label you want to put on this. So I got a question. At the age of 50, when you're sitting there, you're twice divorced, you're broke, did you refer back to all the training or the learning and the education that you'd done previously and looked at that to then start using it? Was it a case of being disciplined to use what you'd already learned, or did you then go and learn new things?
I would say it was looking back and determining what was the most important thing to do. And this gets back to what I said earlier, which is the foundations. And one of the foundations is the concept of pay yourself first. It's 5,000 years old. And I wasn't earning a lot of money. I was earning $5,000 a month. I'm 50 years of age. I'm earning $5,000 a month. Hopefully, most of your listeners are saying that's not a lot of money. And using the other skill of knowing what was real important in terms of the expenses and what were the things that were not important. I paid myself $500 a month, which is 10% of what I was earning. And I was setting it aside. And at the time, I was setting it aside in well-known stocks, companies that have been around for a long time, would still be in business if I died, or, when I turn to dust, these companies will still be there and going on. So I wasn't risking much with the money. I wasn't investing in .com companies or cryptocurrencies. It didn't exist then, but I wasn't taking any risks.
Mm-hmm.
In 3 years, I saved up $18,000. Okay. Here, now I'm 53 years of age and I have $18,000 to my name. Okay. Woo-hoo. But I was married for the third time. My wife was frugal. She wasn't a spender. And she had a realtor who said, there's this little 3-unit rental that I think you should buy. And I said, well, that's great, Robert, but $18,000 is not going to buy anything in Los Angeles. And he said, you know what? This is such a great deal. I'll put up half the down payment. I said, well, all I've got is 25% of the down payment. So my wife put in another 25%, and the three of us bought the property together, which leads me to another expression I always say about creating wealth. It's a team sport, not a solo sport. Now, your co-host bailed on you. I'm your only guest. So this isn't, okay, it's a team of two right now, but we're going to make this work. And the point is, no one I know who's created any wealth. And I keep talking about that, but I think what I want your listeners to really understand is I donate 100% of the profits from the work I do supporting other people, from my books, from my programs, or any coaching I do. 100% of the profit I donate to charity. And I can do that now. And this is the tie into 6-star business. People give businesses a 5-star rating. That's great. I look at the 6th star in my situation is, what are you doing to give back? And so I lead by example. If I'm going to talk about raising philanthropists, what the heck am I doing? So getting back to my story, as like you said, it's okay if I go down a rabbit hole. So the three of us bought this little 3-unit property. Didn't have a lot of money, spent it all on the property. So I'm physically doing the manual labor for different things in the property. I'm swapping out garbage disposals and things like that if things break down, doing some painting, cleaning out, sweeping. And the point is, we improved the look of the property. We re-rented it. And in real estate, multi-unit properties the value is based on the rents. It's a multiplication. The rents go up, you multiply that by a factor, and that's the new value of the building. It's not like a house where there's all these emotional components. In, I think, 4 or 5 years, 33, yeah, hold on a second, let me see. By the way, I failed high school math. So as I do the subtraction, if I'm 58, 57, 3 from 7 is 4. Yeah, in 4 years, the building increased in value by $500,000. And in the United States, there's a tax code section where if you sell a piece of property and you buy something like it, you don't have to pay the taxes on the gain. They'll defer them. And so we were able to roll a whole $500,000 profit into a new larger property. And we went from a 3-unit to a 15-unit property. And during that 4 years, I could tell this was working. Here's another, I'll call it a secret of the wealthy or an attitude of the wealthy. They use debt to create wealth. They don't use debt to buy consumer items like a big screen TV or a car. They use debt to grow their wealth. So I borrowed money from wherever I could to make down payments on more apartment buildings with my wife and this realtor. And in the 8 years from the start, we went from this first 3-unit purchase to owning and managing 50 units, which is how I ended up not having to work, because now we had the income from 50 apartments or 50 families or however you want to describe it. And, that covered my standard of living. Oh, and by the way, when I started this, I had credit card debt. And one of the things I hear, bad advice all the time, is from CPAs or different financial gurus, and they say, oh, pay off your credit card debt first, then invest.
This is really
Now,
interesting to me because it's such the credit card debt is the thing that most people have. And I've heard what you just said too. So yeah, please go ahead. This is really interesting.
well, it's what what I thought was important. And I mean, the debt really gnawed at me. It annoyed me. I couldn't stand it. But at age 50, I'm broke and I had credit card debt. Instead of paying off the debt with that $500 a month, I paid myself first. And I could have taken that $18,000 that I'd saved up in 3 years and gotten rid of my credit card debt. If I would have done that, I would have had no money to invest in that 3-unit property when the opportunity presented itself. And what I did is I borrowed more money to buy more apartment buildings. That income not only paid off the credit card debt that I had, it paid off any monthly charges I made. So my credit card bills were paid in full every single month. And I ended up with millions of dollars as opposed to no credit card debt. Let me put you on the spot again, Aveline. I don't know what your financial situation is, but let me ask you if you had right now no credit card debt, no car loans, no mortgages, you didn't owe money to anyone. You literally had no debt. That's all I'm saying. You just had no debt. Would you have financial freedom? Would you be able to stop working?
No,
That's right. Now, if you had no debt, why is it you wouldn't be able to stop working?
because I've still got to put food on the table and live and buy stuff and go places and look after my kids and yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And people don't make that connection. They figure if I have no debt, they have financial freedom. No, financial freedom comes from having assets that generate an income so you don't have to work to create that income.
Mm.
Because if you don't have the assets that are generating the income, you still have to work to buy the food, to take care of the kids, to pay for transportation expenses, to pay utility bills. All of that money for me at this point in life comes from my investments, which is why I can donate 100% of the profits from the work I do to charities.
Yeah, that's amazing. Tell me, Rennie, when you were presented with that opportunity for the 3-unit apartments, was your mindset right? Like, do you believe your mindset was a big part of this whole thing?
Uh, yeah, my mindset was probably in the realm of hope and desperation. I think you could probably imagine that. Um, One of the advantages I had is I had taken a class at UCLA, the University of California in Los Angeles. That's what UCLA stands for. Um, and 14 years earlier, it was a class on how to buy and manage apartment buildings. And it was taught by a school teacher who was teaching an extension class. Here I am 14 years later, finally able to put that information to use, which is what I did. Um, so I truly believed that I would be able to succeed in real estate because I'd had some education in it. I was working with a realtor who identified good properties to buy. And I had a partner, my wife, who would come up with a quarter of the down payment each time we found something. Um, so I really have to admit, at age 50, I was operating out of desperation. And here at 3 years later, there's this opportunity. And I was scared. I was frightened. This was everything I'd saved up over 3 years, even though it wasn't a lot of money to most people, it was everything to me. But because of the class I had taken at UCLA, I believed I had the knowledge to do this. And it turns out I was right. My partner, the realtor, found the properties. We invested together. I dealt with the tenants. I dealt with the handyman and the painter. When we had more money, we were able to hire people to do a lot of things. So, the mindset was, this will work. I learned what needs to be done, and I'm desperate. I don't have a lot of other choices.
What an amazing story. I love it. There's so much that we can learn from it. And thank you for your questions and putting me on the spot, by the way. And
You're welcome.
I want to draw a reference to themes that come out of these conversations on the podcast, and what myself and many others have kind of, I guess, discussed and come up with, like what's bubbled to the surface about what Six Star is. And there are a few things, like 3 key things, and you've touched on, I think, all of them.
And I didn't even know it.
No. And when I tell you them, I'll let you, share more into these rabbit holes as you like. One is humanity. Six star businesses are those that have a focus and a way of being and a belief and an internal mechanism of caring about humanity, whether that means caring about self, others, the community, our employees, our friends, neighbors, the earth, the animals. It's humanity. The second one is collaboration, and you mentioned that the wealthy people realize they can't do it alone. And what's interesting in our conversations on this podcast is around, we can't do business alone. And the old style of silo thinking, silo operating in this competitive world does not work in now anymore. And it's certainly not going to work in the future. And it's not the essence of a Six Star business. It's not how a Six Star business operates. And the third one is impact. So what is the impact that we are making on the world, on ourselves and others? And are we actually consciously wanting to make an impact? So those 3 things are what really underpins Six Star. And you'll notice that those 3 things are not necessarily about a business. They're about the people in the business. It's an internal mindset. It's a value shift. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on those 3 things that I've just shared with you.
It's funny. Yes, I touched on all of them without realizing it, and I'm so glad that you said them. And in terms of people and working with others and being conscious of whether it's employees or vendors or whatever, that is so crucial. I have people who are working with us in the apartments. Okay, if I'm 73, 53, 20 years later. I'm sorry, when I have to do math, it's slow. Like I said, okay. I already said I failed it. Anyway, 20 years later, I'm still using the same painter. I'm using the same handyman. I was using the same plumber until he retired. And, when they sent us an invoice, it was paid within a few days. I treated them with respect. I treat my tenants with respect. I've discovered landlords who don't care about their tenants, and it makes no sense to me, because these people are literally buying real estate for me. It's their rent payments that I'm using toward the mortgage payments, which is, so I treat these people well. And I guess here's the proof of that. Still talking about people and the people you work with. We're 2 years into this pandemic. 100% of my tenants have paid 100% of their rent through this entire pandemic, except for one person who chose to move out. And it's because I respect them and I take care of them. And in turn, they take care of me. And I know of many landlords who have tenants who could pay rent, who aren't paying rent, who are using the pandemic as an excuse, primarily because their landlords are jerks. So, in terms of treating people appropriately, absolutely. In terms of other examples, Aveline, another put you on the spot question. Have you heard of Warren Buffett?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you heard of Charlie Munger?
I think I have. Yeah. Rings a bell, but not as strong as Warren Buffett.
Okay. Do you know what company Charlie Munger works with or for? Or no? Okay, perfect. So you don't. That's perfect because there are two people involved in the company Berkshire Hathaway. Warren Buffett is half of it. Charlie Munger's the other half. But no one knows who Charlie Munger is because he's in the background. And the term for this is called execution master. Warren Buffett is a visionary, and Charlie Munger executes on Warren's vision. And if you look at Elon Musk, you see the same thing. Elon Musk doesn't know squat about building cars, but he has people who run Tesla who know how to build cars. Same thing with SpaceX. It was the same thing with PayPal when he was a founding member of that. This gets back to the wealth creation's a team sport, not a solo sport. And I can go through company after company. And if I relate to a book that was written in the 1930s called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, it talks about the mastermind concept. Wealthy people know they don't do any of this on their own. Solopreneur is probably a lousy term. And what it's saying is, I'm a business person and I'm by myself. Well, start networking with other business owners. Stop doing things by yourself if you want to have dramatic growth in your business. You talked about the impact. There are so many businesses that I've noticed over the last 10 years that are donating money to various causes that are important to them. People buy shoes from Tom's and they donate a pair of shoes to third world countries. Companies that manufacture socks buy their socks and they donate socks. I mean, I see that all over the place where, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, that was hardly in existence. Paul Newman had a company manufacturing all sorts of food products, pasta sauces and things like that. And he donated 100% of the profits from those businesses to charities. That was one of my first exposure to the possibility that that could be done. And what are we here for if not really to support one another? I mean, if everything's self-serving, it's really very lonely.
So true. And therein is the humanity in you, in hearing you speak that way.
Well, I mean, I got to tell you, the struggles I had with money were very, very painful. And I learned how to fix it for myself. And no one else needs to suffer that.
No. Thank you for that. I'd love you to talk about impact from the perspective of there are businesses that want to create impact in the world, and it could be positive impact. And I know that there's, businesses are trying to make money. They want to make an impact. They're being purposeful. How important is it for them to focus on making the money first versus trying to make the impact first? Or what are your thoughts on that, if there should be an order?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's another one of my wealthy attitude concepts, which is um, most of us, you and I, are guilty of having this either or thinking. Like, either I have to make money first, or I need to have an impact first, or um, I can't buy this if I buy that. And that either or thinking gets in the way and shows up in all sorts of places. And it just showed up in your question to me, like, which order do I have this in? You can do both. You can eliminate the either or thinking and do both. You can focus on making money and an impact at the same time. And I'll use myself as an example. When I first started, how do I phrase it? When I first started educating people online about 7 years ago with these concepts, I wrote my book, my award-winning best-selling book, 20 years ago. And I thought, oh, why don't I learn about online marketing and selling it that way and so on and so forth, and teaching people how to handle money. Um, I'll do that. 6 months into it, I found that this was too much work. I don't need the money, so I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to drop it. And then my wife brought to me this charity that rescues dogs and trains them as service animals for soldiers who come back with traumatic brain injuries or other issues. And the suicide rate among returning veterans was 22 a day, almost one an hour. And these are the people stationed in foreign lands, providing the freedoms that we were able to enjoy in the United States. And when they come back, they're not treated the way they need to be for the things that they've suffered. I mean, maybe they get some medical care, but there was no help for psychological problems. And post-traumatic stress disorder is serious and one of the major factors in people killing themselves when they've returned from service. Not one who's received a service dog committed suicide. So here's a program that rescues dogs, and I love dogs. Between myself and my children, we have 5 rescue dogs. And I had it really easy in the military in the United States. During Vietnam, I was in the Naval Reserve. I'm stationed on a ship. I'm sitting at a table to eat food. I'm taking showers while people I know from high school were crawling through rice paddies in Vietnam and either coming home in a body bag or wearing a bag because their bodies were so destroyed. So I really had it easy. So I figured, oh my gosh, here's a charity that takes care of 2 things with every dollar. When I discovered this charity, I said, oh, I now have a reason to continue doing this business, teaching other people about money and selling my book and selling programs and coaching people. I now have a reason because I can donate those profits to charity. And if it wasn't for that, I would have given it up 6 months after I started because I didn't need the money. But now I saw I could make an impact in an area that made a difference to me. And that's what motivated me to continue the business.
Wow. That's so beautiful. What an empowering story, and it just highlights that we need to have a reason for being. That charity gave you a reason for doing the online stuff that wasn't feeling so great. And tell me, is that what you still do, or do you have a number of charities? I'd love to hear.
Yeah, we've expanded to more and more charities. Shelter to Soldier gets a lot of the money. Last Chance for Animals, New Leash on Life, various homeless shelters, women's shelter. I mean, yeah. Oh, there's probably dozens that we're donating to at this point in time.
Oh, wow. That is so beautiful. Do you share those charities on your website, like for the people that come to you and obviously, sign up and learn from you?
It's funny. I wrote a list of all the different charities because I'd lost track. I literally went through because the charitable donations are deductible. So I went through a tax return to see the number of charities that were getting the money. And that's how I found out. It was well over 24 charities. But no, it's not listed on the website. But if people go to my wealthonanyIncome.com website, they will see at the top of the page information about Shelter to Soldier. If they click on that link, if they make a donation of anywhere from 25, I will give them a free copy of both of my books, and they donate directly to Shelter to Soldier, and they'll get copies of my books. So 100%
Wow.
of the donation just goes to the charity.
That's incredible, Rennie. Wonderful. Wow, it's really heartwarming, and I love the story. People like to hear about people's lives, and you've just shared so much in the last few minutes just about your experience during the Vietnam War and where you were stationed and your friends not being so lucky, and now you're able to give back and honor them and continue to honor not just them, help so many other people. And you're right. In the comment you made before, what else are we here for?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there are people who need support, and there are people who can provide support. I don't need support, so that must mean I should be providing support.
There should be more people like you.
And I believe more and more people are becoming like me.
Mm. So that's a great segue into talking about how you teach people to become philanthropists. Is that's really the point of the work that what you teach online? Is that correct?
And I wouldn't say I teach them how to be a philanthropist. What I recognize are the people that come to me are the people who have a cause that's important to them already, and they
Mhm.
want to be able to support that. They want to be able to provide more support to that cause. And
Right.
so I'm teaching them how to handle the money powerfully so that they can increase their income, increase their wealth, and provide more to the causes that are important to them. And it doesn't have to just be money. I was talking to someone in Australia, as a matter of fact, who said he doesn't do a lot of money donations, but he does a lot of donations of his time, where he'll go to different organizations and help clean up the beaches or feed people in homeless shelters. He donates of his time. And believe me, that is just as powerful, if not more so, than donating money. Because now you're actually interacting with the people you're supporting, or you're interacting with the environment that you want to clean up. Instead of, I could give money to an organization that goes and cleans up the beach, or I can personally go there and do it.
And I was just thinking about that from my own experience and knowing how it feels when you actually go and help. It feels incredible. There is it's a completely different feeling and way of being than normal life. It's if anybody listening to this has not gone and donated their time to a cause for some purpose to help the world, the environment, people, I highly recommend you do it because it'll create a shift in you that you may not have felt before. And it really speaks to what what you're all about, and it gives you a reason for being. You start to realize that as an individual, you have a lot more power to influence others and make an impact than you probably ever realized before.
You got it, Eveline.
So I see you as an impact soldier, or an influencer, Rennie. You're in. You're one of
I'm
these
sorry.
shining.
You're saying yeah, I'm sorry. The word influencer just rubs me the wrong way. I see some movie star flashing jewelry so that she helps sell it. I mean, that's how I see the word influencer. It just that doesn't work for me. But that's my own hang up.
No, I totally understand. You're a beacon of of an example of how one can live uh, in in a way that's honors yourself and honors others. And the way you spoke about your tenants, they are people, like you said, and you're grateful for them to pay the mortgages and to fund your life as well, so you can help other people. It's
Exactly.
so hopefully people listening to this conversation are getting it, that the wealth is not a bad thing. So some people have hang-ups about money and earning too much money, and maybe they judge people who are wealthy, and I've seen that too uh, over time. I think we all have. And yet your example here shows the power of what money can do, and this is part of being human. It's the humanity aspect. It's collaborative because it's you working with your wife and your realtor and all these other people to create a place for someone to live, and then all these impacts that you can make on the world and causes and being a better person. And to me, that is six star. Six star is not just about business, but this totally applies to any business, not because it's the human in the business that is six star.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm just kind of like chuckling inside from the standpoint of, oh, I got on the right podcast.
You absolutely did. I knew that from the moment I met you. I was like, oh, I just want to have you on the podcast. And I remember our first meeting, and I was really impressed. And I could tell it was going to be fun and interesting. And it has been. It's just been incredible.
Thank you. And I didn't even have to do the split personality routine.
No, no.
See, the two of us are enough.
We are enough. Thank you. You've influenced me, and I'm sure throughout, because this is the morning for me. So we're coming up to almost 8 a.m. for me. And this is a beautiful way to start my day. And I'm going to be pondering this some more. Rennie, I'd love to ask a couple of things. First of all, what are the names of your books? And I will have this written in the show notes as well under the podcast.
Okay. The first book is Wealth on Any Income. I try and keep things simple because I am simple. My podcast is Wealth on Any Income. The website's Wealth on Any Income. The award-winning best-selling book is Wealth on Any Income. And the other one is called Attitudes of the Wealthy. And so if they make a donation of $50, they'll get both. If they make a donation of $25, they'll get the Wealth on Any Income book. And again, all they have to do is go to the website, and at the top of the page, click on the link that talks about Shelter to Soldier, takes them right to a donation page.
Wonderful. We'll have that link in the show notes as well for those of you that want to donate. We have a worldwide audience, Rennie. So does it matter where they live in the world?
Actually, it does. So two things.
Okay.
One, I don't get their email when they donate on the page. They actually have to send me an email that they've done that, and I'd see their name on the page. And the second thing is, it works great in the United States, but they may not be able to use PayPal or their credit card for this donation page if they're in Europe or Australia. I don't know. And if that's the case, they can send an email to me. They can use, I think PayPal works everywhere. And they can make the donation to my PayPal account, and then I'll send them the books and I'll transfer it to the charity.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. I just wanted to cover it off because I know some people will be sitting there thinking, well, is it going to be right for me based on where I live? So that covers that off. Thank you.
That
Now,
means I've got another interview coming up.
you do. And so if you heard that, that was Rennie's little alarm letting him know. And we are going to close this out. Rennie, I'd like to ask you one final question. Is there any kind of tidbit or piece of advice or something that you can leave our listeners with now as we wrap things up?
Two things, not just one, but two. The first thing is that wealth creation, business growth, relationship development, all of those are team support issues, not solo support issues. And anybody who's attempting to do it by themselves, it's just a recipe for mediocrity. And people who say they're a self-made millionaire are nothing more than full of themselves. And I don't even like them. The next thing is, Aveline, I want to put you on the spot one more and last time. So this is the second thing. Now that we've spoken about pay yourself first, and you know what it means, when will you begin that practice?
How about the next time I get paid?
Okay, fine. How long from now will that be? A day, a week?
Probably a week. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So 1 week from now, you're going to begin paying yourself first.
Yeah, I will.
Terrific. Okay, I've got that commitment from you. Thank you.
Yes. You're welcome. Thank you. I feel honored, grateful, and I hope our listeners have loved every second of this conversation as I have. So, Rennie, much gratitude to you for the work that you do, for the love that you shine, and how you are a wonderful example of being 6-star. So, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I'll follow up with you in a week.
I look forward to it.